Hey, it's Sam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel in my never-ending quest to put out more and more videos now moving forward. Yeah, I got caught up in the whole end of the year thing, but more videos in 2016. As I talk about this, I want to give you an example of kind of walking the walk as well. So let's talk about just starting today. You're looking at a slide. You know, it's pretty cool. Side note, I'm already going off the reservation. I wasn't even going to talk about this. I'm not a PowerPoint whiz by any stretch. Somehow, though, in earning six figures in an hour from the platform, meaning you actually have to have a PowerPoint presentation when you are selling from stage, I've never been one to really embrace it because on a webinar many years ago, this is what got me going. See, I'm the kind of guy, if you were to tell me to go down the street, don't turn left because the bridge is out and you're going to go off the cliff. I'm going to go left just because you told me not to, and I'll figure it out on the way down. All right, as I'm falling, I'll just figure it all out. Okay, I don't like being told what to do. I don't take orders very well. Hence the reason why I don't have a job because I am psychologically unemployable. So that has a lot to do with this slide right here because on that webinar many years ago, I was giving some information, selling a product, all that stuff, and it was about speaking. Actually, it was actually talking about how to sell from the platform, tips and tricks and all that good stuff. And a gentleman types in the GoToWebinar chat, you honestly want me to believe that you earn six figures with a presentation and you don't even know how to put a good looking PowerPoint together? I was like, okay, let me help you out there, Einstein. Those two are completely separate issues. Learning how to speak and sell are completely different. It actually makes my point for me that you don't need to be a PowerPoint wizard to be an effective speaker. He actually made my point for me. I was nice and diplomatic because back in the day, I used to be a nice guy and very diplomatic and things like that. And I said, hey, actually, thank you so much for mentioning that. That brings up a good point. I forgot to mention, you don't even need to know how to do PowerPoint because you want the focus to be on you, the speaker, and your message, not the slide, because you don't want people reading your slides. Now, if you have that, if you have a virtual assistant or you're a PowerPoint whiz yourself, have a ball. Be Peter or Polly PowerPoint. Knock yourself out, but you don't need to. So that's why my slides look like this, because I'm never going to do it ever again any other way. Then just keep it simple. To even go more, if there was a simpler font than this and more blank white space than this, I would actually use it just to prove my point more. That's why that looks like that. Okay. So starting today, so many people are paralyzed. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Well, you're never going to know until you actually get going, because once you get moving, you get momentum, which gives you experience, and then you make a ton of mistakes. You lose money, you lose friends, you lose relationships, you lose, but you gain. Success and failure follow themselves all the way to the top. But man, you got to start sometime, somewhere. You don't need to know what's going on, man. Just get going with what you're passionate about. This next slide, I got two slides. Look at this. I got so creative, I added an arrow in here. Two dates in my life over the past 10 years that were very, I'll tell you what, man, they really shook me up and forced me to do something, or else I was going to be spiraling off the cliff going nowhere fast. May 6, 2005, I quit my job, 15 years in corporate America. And I said, the hell with it, man. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I've got two kids, another one on the way. I never see them. I'm working all these crazy hours, and I never get a chance to see my family, and I can't talk to anybody because pigs don't know pigs stink. You know, when you're in the pig pen, everybody stinks, and you go, hey, do I stink? No, you smell great as far as I know. So you can't go to your corporate buddies and say, hey, this job sucks. This isn't even a life. We're just working to make money to keep us alive so we can just keep working, and then we're going to be dead. But, well, I take that back. We're going to get the gold watch, and then we'll be dead. Okay, so we actually get something before we die. We'll get the gold watch for showing we spent 40 years with the company. I didn't want that, but I couldn't talk to anybody because nobody really related. Or they would be like, yeah, I know, but boy, we know what we're going to do. We need health insurance, all that. So I just ripped the Band-Aid off May 6th and said, I'm done. I didn't even get that point. I didn't even care. You know, I figured I'd figure it out. I'd figure it out along the way. Well, I didn't figure it out, and I went bankrupt. Bought a Quiznos and went under real quick. So that's a whole other story. If you've never heard that, that's a whole other story. Toasty. Yes, I was at Johnny Quiznos. Went under real quick. Long story. I'll share it some other time. Not important. So I went back to the job, sat in a cubicle, making a lot less money, but I gained a lot more. I gained peace of mind knowing that. Oh, by the way, I went back to the same company, not the same job. Base salary was $39,000. Went from 110 grand to 39,000. No big deal because I didn't really care. Went back, played the game for a little bit while longer, realized, wow, this really sucks even worse than I thought it would. Quit again in April of 2007, and there was no going back. And not only burned the bridge, I blew the damn thing up. Okay, I mean, there was no going back. But in that time, I realized, here's the thing. In May 2005, actually a few years before I quit, I was set to get an increase, a bonus, the year-end bonus, and it was about 5%. Well, 5% of 100 grand is $5,000. And when you're working 60, 70 hours a week, to make $5,000 after 52 weeks of those 60 to 70 hour weeks, we'll take that back, probably 49 weeks because I got 3 weeks off. But you're never really on vacation because the boss calls. You see where I'm going with all this, right? So I said, oh, that's interesting. So I'm getting a 5% increase. Boy, this doesn't feel right. That's before taxes, by the way. So I contributed to my 401k about 12%. You got FICA, you got federal tax, all these deductions coming out, health insurance premiums coming out, dental, all that good stuff. So that $5,000 quickly turned into an annual increase of about $3,000 or so, give or take, maybe $3,500. Who knows? Doesn't even matter because now you're looking at about $300 a month. $300 a month is what? $75 a week. So you're going to give me a $75 a week. That's $1 an hour raise. I got $1 an hour raise making 100 grand a year and working 70 hours a week. I said, absolutely, positively, no way. There's got to be a better way to life. There's just got to be a better way or else I might as well be dead. I mean, seriously, I might as well just be dead. So I thought maybe I'll give myself my own increase and I'll give myself my own raise. And this was way before. I can't even get to in this presentation. I'm going to do another video real quick after this. I can't even get to April 2007 because that's a whole different. I was actually going in a different direction, but I got to tell you this reason how it all started because it didn't start on May 6th. The prosperity you're going to have in 2016 as a result of the decisions that you made in 2013, 14, and this past 12 months in 2015, those seeds that you planted, they're going to harvest this year. You know that, right? Now, if you didn't plant any seeds, when would be a good time than now to get going and plant those seeds? Okay, get going now. You can still do it. Plant the seeds, get on the super harvest plan, and get moving twice as fast as you would have done had you planted them just a couple of years ago. Look, you can do it. You can change your life right now. But very few people can play big and make that decision because they perceive it to be so incredibly painful. But I ask you the other question, what's more painful? Doing what you're currently doing or at least going for it and having that you wake up with like, wow, there's a blank sheet of paper. I get to write on it today and really choose what I want to do. So I bought a rental property. I bought a duplex and it wasn't a big deal. The rents after the taxes and the utilities I paid and things like that, I netted about $300 a month. Sound familiar? That's the same amount of money that I was getting by working 70 hours a week over the course of 52 weeks in a year, 49, 3 weeks vacation. Oh, and a couple of floating holidays. Still don't know what a floating holiday is, but maybe somebody can explain that to me in the comments. So I said, wow, I just gave myself, by making a decision to buy a duplex with a credit card, by the way, whole other story. This was back in 2002. I bought this duplex a few years before, a seed that I planted. And I got a Discover card in the mail, a check, sign your name, 0% interest for 18 months. So I wrote the whole thing out to myself, made a down payment, refinanced it, all this stuff, because I learned how to do it on the internet, really at no charge. I just was in so much pain. I wanted to learn how to buy a rental property with not any of my own money. And yes, it's possible. Those infomercials at 3 a.m, they work, but you have to as well, So I bought Carlton sheets, all that stuff, man. My whole point being in this particular video is that I gave myself the same amount of an increase as my boss gave me, and I didn't have to do anything but sign my name to a piece of paper. Yeah, of course, I incurred some risk. With rental property, you're going to have vacancies. People are going to move out and all that stuff. And look, you're going to lose money and all that headache. But I said, is the pain of moving forward greater or less than the pain of going back, or at least the pain of staying where you are right now? And I made the decision that the pain of moving forward was less than the pain of staying where I was. And, fast forward a few months, a few years later, once you've made that decision and you've failed and you realize that you can just brush yourself off, a little dirt, little scrapes, no big deal. You're still alive. The sun's still coming up and you still have a shot. See, you still have a shot. That you can go on the internet now. I mean, holy cow, in 2016, where we are right now, moving into 2016, there's nothing that you cannot learn on your own online if you have the discipline to do it. And by that, I mean, it doesn't matter how many hours you work at a job. Go an hour in the morning, an hour at lunch, and an hour at night. That's 3 hours a day to learn your craft, to learn your passion, to find out and model other people. That's 3 hours a day, every day for 30 days. That's 90 hours in a month. How much do you think you could learn by studying 90 hours in a month? So in the next video, I'll come back and talk about this whole April and May and all this good stuff and what happened as a result. But I want to challenge you today to start today. You know what I mean? Start today and get yourself moving. Because if you wait, look at how fast this past year just went by. Just get going. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail, all that great stuff. Who can laugh about it? You know how many laughs I've been able to supply by going bankrupt in 2005 and losing that Quiznos? You know how many great jokes at the bar and at these live events and even in my own living room, the stories I've been able to tell about failing miserably? If nothing else, your failures will at least allow you to laugh down the road. You can't laugh in the moment because it really sucks, but I'll tell you what, without that failure that's going to give you the experience, you'll never have success. Get going. Start today. I'll see you on the next video.